Nigeria's number one talk station, 99.3 Nigeria Info. 21 minutes gone past the 6 o'clock hour. At this point in time, actually from the 15 minutes mark, every Monday at 6 p.m. or past 6 p.m., we bring you a review of the biggest stories from the previous week. We call it the Newsroom. My name is Ufuoma Egbamuno. It's a pleasure to be here once again. We've spent a lot of time and we are behind schedule. So quickly, let's get into the thick of the action. Our conversation today has something to do with discipline, or rather, the opposite of it, in tertiary institutions, using the case study of the trending issue involving a Unizik lecturer and a student. Our guest is already on standby, waiting to get his thoughts put across to us on the show. But before I bring him on, let me quickly run through some of the stories that made the rounds last week. Well, the police denied that it was planning to reintroduce the disbanded Special Anti-Robbery Squad. We also saw the Lagos Red Line Rail Service increase its daily trips to ease commuting between Agbado and the Oyingbo axis of Lagos. We also brought to the news that a new international airport is set to be built along the Lekki-Epe Expressway following the signing of an MOU. And we also told you that the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Controls raided the Dumota open drug market. Also, we saw IPOP leader Nnamdi Kanu questioning the court's authority as the judge adjourned his case indefinitely. And of course, something we're going to talk about on the second half of the show, Lagos, or rather Southwest governors were right here in Lagos planning on how to set up a joint security surveillance team. And on the Lagos aspect of the show, we will get you talking. We would like you to join in the conversation. Of course, one of the big stories from last week was the Senate passing the 2025 appropriation bill. But let's get our thoughts into the big conversation that has been a trending topic, and so many persons have had their opinions, their thoughts, on it. In case you've been in planet Mars or you did not follow the news the whole of last week, well, let me let you know that a 300 level student of the Department of History and International Studies at Unizik, that's Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Godi Mbakwe Precious, was expelled after assaulting a lecturer from the Department of Theatre and Film Studies. The lecturer's name is Dr. Chukwudi Okoye. Well, the incident occurred when Dr. Okoye was passing through a hallway where the student was recording a TikTok video. Student reacted to being unexpectedly pushed by the lecturer and made a rude remark. The lecturer, hearing this, came back to confirm if she was his student and ensure that the footage of him is deleted from her phone. Unfortunately, things escalated as the student attacked the lecturer physically, biting and tearing his clothes. Well, the latest from there is that the University Students' Disciplinary Committee found the student guilty of gross misconduct in violation of the university's disciplinary regulations. Consequently, Acting Vice Chancellor approved her immediate expulsion from the university. Well, the academic staff of universities has commended Dr. Okoye for his exemplary composure and professionalism during the incident. And of course, this has got a lot of persons talking from all across the country. We have joining us an educationist, he's a researcher, and he's also the leader of Nigerian teachers. He leads the largest Nigerian teachers community of more than 500,000 members. We have Dr. Peter Ogudoro joining us on the Newsroom this evening. A very good evening to you, sir. Welcome to the Newsroom.
Yeah, it's my pleasure to join you. Good evening.
It's good to see you smile. Is there some jackpot you won? Can you share? Yeah.
Well, if you live in Nigeria that we live in now, the best you can do for yourself is to put on a smile all the time, no matter how difficult the times get.
I like that. I like that. That will get us into this conversation, very well. Let me start by asking you, when you saw that video last week, what were your first thoughts?
Well, it's a reflection of where we are as a society. Society has degenerated, to a level where education is now being described as scam, and young people are questioning our culture, our values. We no longer respect boundaries. We think that there's no difference between a young person and an elderly person, and so everyone is the same. And there's a tendency for young people to be wrongly influenced by Western culture, which we see all over the place on the internet. And I find the development quite unfortunate. And I see both people involved in the altercation as victims of the system, especially the young lady. She much as she has become the one who has to pay the greatest price in this process, I also think that she's a victim of systemic flaws. We have got a lot wrong as a society, and our children are paying a huge price for it. And that's a very unfortunate place to be as a society.
Well, Dr. Gudoro, it's quite easy to lay the blames, on the culture or the society and all of that. But the young ones probably will point accusing fingers at some of us older persons to say, hey, now we don't already spoil the country, so they're just following in our footsteps.
Yes, that's the point I was actually indirectly alluding to. The young ones can't take full responsibility for their misconduct. We live in a society where, unlike in the days when I was a teenager, we were trained by the entire community. And so if my uncles saw me doing the wrong thing, they didn't have to take permission from my parents to correct me. But urbanization and westernization of Nigeria and the rest of Africa have brought us to a place where you can't talk to your niece and get her to do the right thing. You can't talk to your nephews and challenge them and get them to improve upon their conduct. So everybody seems to be living in isolationist enclaves where we have become governments unto ourselves, and lawlessness has become the way everyone is going, and that's a very unfortunate place to be. So that's where we are. Our parents are not doing as much as they need to do in terms of bringing up their children properly, and you also cannot lay the entire blame on the shoulders of parents, because society today has become very traumatic in terms of the burdens that parents carry. Both parents have to leave home every day to go to work to be able to put food on the table. In the times when mothers had more time to spend with their children, we are not at the place where we are now. But today, very early in the morning, mother hits the road, goes to work, and comes back at 8 p.m. Daddy does the same. And so we are leaving our children in the hands of maids and school teachers who, in most cases, especially at the kindergarten level, don't even have children of their own. And so they don't have the experience and the skills to be able to bring up our children in the way that we desire. And so a lot has gone amiss. And we are also seeing a situation where people are becoming successful in quotes, really, in terms of if definition of success as we know it in Nigeria now is the fact that you own a Jeep, you have built 4 houses, and you wear clean and beautiful dresses. And so children are discovering that you can own all of those things without going to school and without being respectful to others. And education is now being described by young people as scam, and that's why you see that not investing enough time to study, and everybody has used the internet to try and get their own share of the dollars that the internet is minting for young people. So that's how we got to where we are. If not for where how much of degeneration we have experienced in the society. We won't be talking about a young lady who is supposed to be in the university, sitting down doing research, going to the library to read books and learn and do assignments and carry out other tasks. But you see them, they don't care about reading their books. Many of them skip lectures, and everybody is doing, has become a content creator. Even people studying medicine are content creators. Those who are studying geography, biochemistry, everybody is a content creator. So when you send your children to school, you expect that they'll be working in line with the prescriptions of universities where they are studying, but that's not where we are anymore. The children are learning from what they are seeing on the internet, and everybody wants to make money in a hurry because they see a lot of people who haven't got university degrees, who exited school after a year or two, who have become multimillionaires overnight. And so everybody wants to get their own share of what the internet offers. And unfortunately for us, even politically, we also see that the parliamentarians are cutting away a lot of money, even without having paid the price in terms of going to proper schools. And so the children can't take all the blame. Society, all of us have to take a share of what has brought us to where we are.
As you mentioned, parliamentarians, I actually had that thought in my head. I was just waiting for you to land. I was about to also add the fact that the last two presidents, in fact, the sitting president and the one before, both of them have had controversies concerning their education qualifications. And so if you can get to the highest post in the land, even with controversies surrounding your educational background, then just about anybody can do what they want. But anyway, let's move forward now. And what strategies do you think we need to implement to be able to stem this tide? Because it's become problematic. We can't run away from it. It has actually become problematic. So what solutions do you think we need to start implementing? It might not happen overnight, but maybe if the generation right now is already lost, let's talk about putting things in place to be able to save the next generation coming. What are those strategies?
No, we are not in a hopeless situation. The reason why we are where we are is because the wrong people are running our education system. So if you put professionals getting round pegs in round holes and square pegs in square holes within the education space as Minister of Education and as Commissioners of Education and then as inspectors of education in the various ministries, then they will be able to give us the right policies. Even the university that is in focus here, UNIZIC, if you go there and ask them for their policy on social media as a concerned student, you probably may not find any document that has made it very clear as to how far children can go, students who are studying there can go in terms of how they use the internet and even the kind of training the children are receiving. I'm also not very sure, given the knowledge at my disposal as a researcher in the industry, that there are clear indications as to the fact that you can't rely on the internet to bring us knowledge that convinces us that you have learned as much as we want you to put across to us to be able to earn your degree. So there are no clear policies because the wrong people are running the education system. If you look at, you have to call my attention to the last two administrations, probably even including the current one. Most of the ministers we have had are people who didn't study education. For 8 years under Buhari, we had a minister of education whose highest academic attainment was a bachelor's degree in accountancy. He knew nothing about education, and we gave him Nigeria's education system to run for 8 years. He destroyed it. And we have also, found ourselves in a situation where the current minister of education is also a physician, a medical doctor, who also didn't study education. So a lot of times, these might be people who are sincerely interested in making things work well.
But I can say that in some of the other ministries, you don't have, for example, the minister of works, or to be... No,
that's an argument. Education is a key ministry. Have you ever heard that we appointed a geographer to be Nigeria's Attorney General? Have you ever heard that we appointed an engineer as Nigeria's Minister of Health? There are key ministries where that idea of anybody can be minister should not apply. Education is one of them. You should put an educationist as the Minister of Education, because education is a key ministry. Once you get education right, every other thing becomes easy to handle. But if you keep thinking that anybody can be Minister of Education, then you're setting your society up for catastrophic, outcomes, and that's very unfortunate for us. So the point I'm making in very clear terms is that we need to get it right at the level of manpower. Let's put square pegs in square holes. Let's get the right people to formulate the right policies. Let's get our lecturers and teachers properly trained. And let's also help our parents to recognize that they have a role to play. That when they send their children to school, that they shouldn't assume that the training of the child begins and ends with what the teacher says and does in the classroom. Parents are part and parcel of that process. As a matter of fact, education begins first and foremost at the home front, because the father and the mother are the first role models that the child copies from. But unfortunately, most families are relinquishing that responsibility and putting it on the shoulders of the teacher, who is not adequately acknowledged as a useful member of society, who is not paid well for the job he or she is doing, who is not rewarded, who is not respected. And that's, as a matter of fact, how come we got to where we are, where a young child, a girl, was assaulting a lecturer, from the information we have got from the internet. So if the parents have done their job well, shepherded their children, provided appropriate guidance, and then we come to the school system and we have guidance and counseling, systems, and also have trained teachers well to also provide appropriate examples, we won't get to where we are. So let's get the right policies and then pay teachers well so that they are respected. The reason why children talk to teachers anyhow is because they know that their parents earn better salaries, make more money than the average teacher. So as a teacher, you are a nobody to the average Nigerian child. And they say this without, feeling any sense of guilt. And you don't blame them. How much does the average Nigerian teacher earn? Those teaching at primary school levels, there's hardly any of them who is earning up to 50,000 naira. When you go to university, the average professor in a typical university in Nigeria is probably not earning up to 500,000 naira. When you convert that to dollars, you see that is just peanut when you put it in international context, and that's why lecturers are not respected. So if you upgrade lecturers to their rightful place and give them the recognition and the rewards that they deserve as people who are making an indispensable contribution to the development of society, then everybody will take a cue and respect the lecturers. But unfortunately for us, our politicians have said that lecturers are not people who are rendering a very important service. And that's why we can afford to carry on with other things we're doing while they stay at home for 8 months, and in some cases very close to a year. So it's a terrible situation we have in our hands. It's not just that child. A lot has happened to bring the child to where we've seen her, where she doesn't think that lecturers deserve the respect. It's not entirely her fault. It's societal challenge.
All right. So quickly, as we try to wrap up the conversation, do you think that the University of Nnamdi Azikiwe University actually, some would argue that the punishment for the lady in question is a bit above board, that she could have been given other punishments apart from expelling her? Do you think it was quite severe, the decision from the university?
Well, if you do my kind of job and you have my kind of training, you will have sympathy for that kind of thought. I do agree that giving recognition to the fact that this girl has misbehaved, not entirely because she was born an ingrate and a stupid person, but because society has pushed her to where she is, then it becomes very unfortunate that we are trying to kill an ant with a hammer. So that's not. I think the punishment is excessive. We could have given a suspension. She can stay away for a whole term, a whole semester, to go and think, about what she has done and then repent and come back to finish. Because if we throw her out, we are committing that error where you blow the grammar of throwing the child away, with the bathwater. So where do we want her to go? She still remains a Nigerian child, and we do not want her to fall into depression and go in directions that will create more problems for society. So she deserves to be corrected, but I think that they expelling her completely from the school system, because it's going to be difficult for her to find another university in Nigeria, even abroad, that will accept her given these circumstances. So how does she?
There are already plans, I hear, some Nigerians are already thinking about putting up money together to send her, out of the country, to go further her education. Some have also alluded that that's the Nigeria in us trying to reward bad behavior. What do you say to that?
Well, I do not think that that's the way to go. We can put pressure on the university to review the decision they have taken and reduce that punishment to maybe suspension for 1 semester. As a matter of fact, the person who authorized the punishment is an acting vice chancellor, not even a substantive one. The person who wrote to communicate that to the child and to her family is also an acting registrar. So I think that there are people who occupy higher positions. There should be a pro-chancellor of the university, and there should be Minister of Education who can step in and say, well, we agree with you that the child has done the wrong thing. We have made that point, and the child has understood this. Get her to write an apology, probably publicly, and then acknowledge that she has done the wrong thing.
She could even do a TikTok video. She could even do a TikTok video to apologize.
Beautiful. You see, you are looking like somebody who can do a better job when it comes to administering discipline. So she can do a TikTok video, to say, I'm sorry, I didn't even know that, he was a lecturer. I thought he was somebody who was trying to assault me, in terms of sexual, harassment. But I realized, I have now come to know that wasn't the case. And so I'm sincerely sorry. It was not a deliberate attempt to be a bad child. It was just an attempt to try to protect myself, given all that I know is going on in society. But now I have realized I'm wrong. I'm sorry. And so we can revise that punishment downwards. Yeah, I think it's
okay.
It's high-handed. Two wrongs do not make a right.
I agree. So I guess we would have to leave it at that. We've had Dr. Peter Ogudoro, who is an educationist, and of course the researcher and a leader of Nigerian teachers right here. It's been amazing talking to you for the last 15 minutes or thereabout. I'm sure if it was possible, we could talk about this for the next 1 hour, and you will have loads and loads of. Maybe we'd have to bring you on one of our other shows that have more time so that we can dig deep into this. But thank you very much for taking time to be with us on the show.
My pleasure. Enjoy the rest of the evening.
All right, Dr. Peter Ogudoro there, an educationist, talking to us about the issue. And I had my producers in the studio laughing. I don't know why they were laughing. I only gave a good suggestion. Now, nobody TikTok start the whole matter. Anyway, it's not a laughing matter, to be honest. It's really not a laughing matter. And you begin to wonder the kind of society that it started going bad, at least in my little memory. It started going bad for me just when I was getting into my teenage, from the early 90s. It started going bad. It's like we started losing our morals. The young ones could argue also that we older persons, the way we were trained, it also gave us an opportunity for us to be abused, for us to be timid, for us to not be able to question some certain things. I agree to some extent, yes, but it's a two-way street. Anyway, let's just leave it at that and go quickly to the next conversation on the Newsroom Lagos. Well, last week we had governors from the southwest region of the country, talking about the 6 southwest states, converge here in Lagos. It was a closed-door meeting between the governor of Lagos State, Ogun, Oyo, Ondo, Ekiti, come discuss the, you could argue, worsening security situation across the area. And of course, they discussed other things of common interest, including economic collaboration, food security, and the Southwest Development Commission. Well, we had Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, address the press last week after the meeting, and he touched on some of the resolutions that they reached, including, of course, the establishment of a joint surveillance and monitoring team to coordinate security across the region. Let's take a listen to the governor.
Establishment of joint security surveillance. The forum agreed to appoint now special advisors on security in each state and to establish a joint surveillance monitoring team which we believe will oversee and coordinate security efforts across the region. And as part of the resolution, the forum has committed to deploying advanced technology, including area surveillance systems that will enhance security operations. Additionally, the forum resolved to strengthen intelligence gathering by fostering a collaboration between our state security operatives, local security network, and of course the federal enforcement authority. The forum recognizing the need for food security, to encourage what we see as an ongoing collaborative effort among our Southwest states and implementing measures which is aimed at reducing and curbing inflation in the entire region. We believe also at forum discussion will express concern with activities of unscrupulous middlemen who deliberately inflate food prices and commodities within the region. We therefore took a view and agreed to establish what we call a food inflation joint monitoring team, which we believe will foster interstate collaboration and it will mitigate food inflation. We also went further to jointly set individually logistics hub, as a means of ensuring, food security, food adequacy in each state, but also working collaboratively as a region together.
Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu speaking there on behalf of his colleagues, the South-West governors. So it's not just about security. There was also the talk about food security, because that's a very... See, make I no lie, I never chopped today. Okay, I ate rice earlier around 12 or thereabout. But the point I'm trying to make is food security is very, very important. Even as my producer, Nena, is looking at me with one corner eye. I don't even understand why she's staring at me that way. Going back to my point, apologies for digressing. Apart from the normal security, of properties and lives, food security is very, very important. You heard the governor talk about, the whole inflation of prices and all of that, which if it is allowed continue, can literally just erode whatever benefits these governments have been able to put out in their respective states. But let's concentrate on Lagos right now, because of course that's where we are. I would love to hear from you people. 08095975805. That is the WhatsApp number. 08095975805. But call us 0201 465 7190. 0201 465 7190. We want to hear what area of Lagos you are and what the security situation is in your area, and what maybe the food prices look like in your area, at least over the last, let's say, since 2025, since January 2025. The Lagos State government are listening as we speak, and of course, whatever you say will be noted, if it needs to be corrected right here. Just as you can also tweet at us at Nigeria Info FM, at Nigeria Info FM. And of course, let's get this call. Hello, good evening. Hello. Good evening. Welcome to the newsroom.
Yes, good evening, First Caller. My name is Godfrey. I'm calling from Leko area. Okay.
What's the security like in your axis?
Yes. Actually, I heard what you said about the information you talked about the Southwest governors coming together to form a security surveillance.
Surveillance, yeah.
I want to ask, what happened? What has happened to Amotekun?
Well, Amotekun doesn't actually exist here in Lagos State. It does in some of the other Southwest states. So the plan is to actually have something unitary that covers all 6 states.
Oh, really? Amotekun doesn't exist in Lagos?
No, it doesn't. Lagos has what do you call it again?
Okay.
Neighborhood watch. Yes, that's what Lagos has.
Oh, I see. see. I see. All right.
So you understand the need for it now?
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much.
So much.
Appreciate your thought. Okay, 0201 465 7190 or 0201 277 0993. Hello, good evening. Welcome to the newsroom. Hello. Nana's village people have come from Ohafia. That's how they behave. That's how they actually behave. Okay, I've got this WhatsApp message. This one is from Precious. Okay, before I read the message, another call. Hello, good evening.
Good evening, ma.
Good evening, sir. Welcome to the show.
Yes, ma. I've been hearing and been listening to you, ma. I want to say this. I'm highly not happy with the way the sellers are increasing prices in the market. Can you hear me, ma?
Where exactly are you calling from? So at least we have an idea.
I am calling from Ikorodu.
Ikorodu. What's your name?
Yes. But the problem is this. When goods are coming in, you see so many groups being on the road, collect 1 naira, collect 2 naira, collect 5 naira, so they'll be collecting until those goods got landed. And at the end, you see those sellers, they will also add all this money.
Taxation.
To the goods that they have already bought. And that is one of the reasons I'm thinking that these prices of food commodities are going higher in the market.
Okay.
If that's a way that the government can look into this and reduce some of this collecting on the road.
Illegal taxation.
A lot. God bless you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, sir. Let's see if I can take another call. Hello, good evening. Welcome to the newsroom.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening to you.
Yeah, I'm Naji calling from Afromedia.
Naji from Afromedia. All right. What's the security situation in your area?
Yes, it's still bad. We're not experiencing anything good in security. We're not seeing them.
When you say them, who do you mean?
What I mean is that we have not received anything security, generally, in our side.
Okay.
Yes, even when we talk of food security, the things are still going high. Market are still going. These boys, they will be in the road, see motor carry something, they will charge. No mercy.
Okay.
So these things are making things to be going high. We never see any change. It's still so high and so bad. People are not happy. We are seeing all these things. We never see any change, generally. The security and the food security, we never see any change.
All right.
So when we see change, we will know. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Precious from Lekki on WhatsApp says that the security situation around my area is okay, but the prices of goods and services as well as food is on the rise daily. Maybe because you live on the high, bro. Maybe. Hello, our final call. Hello, good evening.
Yeah, Ufuoma, good evening, sir.
Good evening to you. You've got 1 minute.
This is Chris.
Welcome, Chris.
3 weeks ago, I saw these motorcycle guys at the international airport with a big boss. I said, what is happening? Where are these guys going? Are they going for a training or what? Because they should not compare that their neighborhood watch to motorcycle. All of them, should be their Ududua, whatever they call themselves, right? They should put heads together now and form this motorcycle. You have it in Lagos, you have it in Indo, you have it in Ekiti. But this one now, they are not telling us, no, Lagos they have a neighborhood watch.
So that's why all the states are now putting up this surveillance team.
Good, let them do that.
All right.
The neighborhood watch cannot do anything for us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and that will be how we live it on the Lagos newsroom this evening. Thank you very much for finding time to tune in to excuse me, the station and of course the program. It will be back again next week Monday from 6:15. On behalf of my producer extraordinary Precious Nena Okon, ably assisted by Emmanuel Onwoka. Thank you very much, and I'll see you guys next week Monday. Until then, stay safe.
More conversation, more talk, more right after this.
Harude, my own baby, Harude.
Hey, whoa, Mama, it's not Harude now. It's all day deodorant.
Abumo, leave me and my Harude, I beg. Because you dash me perfume.
Mama, no be perfume now. It's deodorant.
Hey, now roll on they talk now. See, they make me sense. Where? Harude.
All day, Mama, all day.
Whether na market or even church says, I go wear them. Harude. I know they fear sweat again. No.
All day.
Oh my God. Now wait till you say the way go that your office now, eh? When you came,
Mama, now all day shoppers.
Whether na all day.
99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.